Kazim Tiamiyu, aged 25, left home on a Friday evening in February to meet his manager, Oluwaseun Oyesoya, who just arrived in SAGAMU from Lagos. The man was the bridge to his dream for a sensational football career in Europe, and Kazim was always excited anytime he was in town. That evening, he told his parents he would be sleeping over at the manager's house, but promised to return the following morning. He never did. The next day, his father, Honorable Fasasi Tiamiyu, received a phone call from a total stranger asking him to come to the General Hospital OYEYEMI in Ogun State to see his son, who just got into a fight with a policeman. In less than 30 minutes, he arrived at the hospital, saw his son in his navy blue jersey lying on a rusty wheel stretcher, dead. In a fit of rage, he grabbed the man identified as his son's killer. The small crowd at the hospital freed the suspect from the fierce grip of the bereaved man and detained him till he was finally arrested. The man was later identified as Niyi Oshinowo, a police officer from the dreaded Special Anti-Robbery Squad SARS in Eleweron, Abeokuta. SARS is one of the 14 units in the Force Criminal Investigation and Intelligence Department of the Nigerian Police Force. It was established in 1992 to detain, investigate, and prosecute people involved in crimes like armed robbery, kidnapping, and other forms of crimes. The squad has evolved to become a special operation unit of the Nigerian Police Force, except that it's now infamous for extortion, torture, framing up of suspects, and even blackmail. According to a 2016 report by Amnesty International, SARS officers are rarely held to account for their involvement in torture and other ill treatment of detainees, and in some cases, they are transferred to another location to avoid punishment. Oshinowo is one of the SARS operatives notorious for extortion and torture in SAGAMU, a town of nearly 400,000 people, according to the 2016 projection of the National Population Commission. The local youth in the town told the ICIR how the police officer and his team usually obtained money from them by force and threats. On Saturday, February 22, around 10:30 a.m., Oshinowo and his colleague arrested the late Kazim in company of his teammate, Sonny Abubakar. Kazim, also known as Kaka by fans, was a defender with Remo Stars Football Club, a popular local football club founded by Kunle Shoname, the owner of Bet Niger. The club plays in the second division in the Nigerian Football League.
We came out from our manager's house, so going to his mother's place to eat at about 9:45 a.m. He parked to buy engine oil for his car. So he left his phone and everything inside the car to buy. So when the Sienna vehicle parked in front of us, they are asking me, who am I? What are you doing here? I told them I'm a footballer. Presented my ID card to me, to them. So they were like, where is my phone? I said, he's here. Where is my friend? I said, he went to buy engine oil. So the next thing, they collected my phone and his own because he left his phone inside the car. So the next thing that happened, they were telling me I should not come out from the car because the SARS was threatening me that if I come out, he's going to shoot and all. I said, what's the problem? He said, nothing. Where's the owner? So Kaka was coming out from the shop where he went to buy the engine oil. They now grabbed him on his neck, forced him inside the Sienna vehicle. The SARS officer that was with me now started driving Kaka's car. So the Sienna that Kaka was inside now drove away, so we were following them behind. I was asking the SARS officer that was with me driving Kaka's car, where are you taking us? He told me that he's taking us to the station. So passing SAGAMU police station, I was telling him, are we not supposed to stop here? He told me that no, they are taking us to their headquarters. So headquarters, where is your headquarters? He did not say anything. So we are heading to Abeokuta, at Pepsi Football Academy, the junction where the Sienna that Kaka was inside parked in front of us. So we now parked. So the next thing he did was he opened the bonnet. The person that was with me, he came out to open the bonnet that was inside. That's Kaka's car. So what actually happened was the bonnet was blocking my view. I was not really seeing what's happening inside the Sienna because nobody came out from the Sienna. They just parked. So he went to the Sienna. I don't know what actually transpired between them, because he asked me not to come out, because if I did, he would keep threatening me like that. So I just maintained. I was inside the car. So while he just came back and closed the bonnet, he was about to enter inside the car. That was when I see the Sienna drove away. The next thing that happened, I just saw the door of the Sienna opened, and next thing the force that my friend came out from, I know someone actually pushed him out of the Sienna vehicle. So the car that was coming from behind on the speed lane hit him. So he fled from this side to the other side of the road.
When the incident happened, they wanted to run away. The villagers now troop out that you cannot go. You have to take care of this boy. So they now carry my son. Instead of them to carry him into their Sienna, but they carry him inside my Lexus car. Now the SARS guy who drove my Lexus car now asking Sonny Abubakar that he drive. He said no, he can't drive. That is why he's the one that drove the Sienna, the Lexus car, to the hospital. And again, instead of them to carry him to nearest hospital like Osut in Shagamu, they drive down to Ishara Hospital. There they rejected my son. They now drove back to OYEYEMI General Hospital. But before getting to OYEYEMI General Hospital, he has died already.
He had an information that the guy used to put on military fatigue, and with that he used to harass people with it. That was the information he claimed he had, and he went there together with his informant and two other ladies. So when they got there, actually they saw the guy with military face cap.
They saw him. They saw Kaka.
Yes, with military face cap. So he got him arrested. He put him in his own Sienna vehicle. The informant drove the Sienna car with the two other ladies and Kaka inside the vehicle. So the Kaka's vehicle was driven by the policeman and his friend. The friend to Kaka they are together inside that car. So on their way coming, when they got to a point, they called that place Hurriedly. The power steering oil of the deceased vehicle was leaking. So they want to check. He now called those people in the Sienna that wait, we want to check what is happening with this car. Why they park? You know, Sienna used to have two side door. The suspect opened the other side, the door of the other side. He jumped down because he wanted to escape. That is the truth of the case.
Well, that was the account according to the police.
Yes. Now, as he came down, an oncoming vehicle knocked him down.
The police said that your friend jumped from the vehicle.
Yeah, actually, they have their own way of, saying their own story. But that was what actually happened.
Several times, the best clothes ọmọ mi òní jersey. Njọ́ tẹ́ bá rí aṣọ ara lára ẹ̀ ṣe lọ́jọ́jọ́ Friday tó lọ jímọ̀. Gbogbo aṣọ mi ni máa fọ aṣọ tó fi ń gbá bọ̀. Àwọn aṣọ tó bá yẹ pé ń wọ̀ lọ jímọ̀ àbí nǹkan tó kò ń lọ party. Tó bá dé ọjọ́ Saturday tí wọ́n lọ bí kọ̀ọ̀kan wọ́n máa ṣe exercise. Ó dẹ̀ máa ń kúrò àkẹ́rì fún ẹsẹ̀ gan. Anything ẹsẹ̀ pé tó bá rí mo jẹ́ wọ́n lè lọ gbá òun ní ẹsẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí iṣẹ́ tó ń ṣe. Wọ́n ti mú ọmọ mi ní Sweden. Tuesday ló fẹ́ travel. Wọ́n pa Saturday.
But before the incident of Kaka occurred, there was the case of Emeka Egbo, 29-year-old, who was arrested by SARS operatives in Ogun and beaten to death. Amnesty International captured the account of the deceased family in a detailed report. After the arrest of Emeka, his relative visited the police to have him released, but the officers denied them entry because they could not pay. We were not told why he was arrested. We returned in the evening and were later taken inside the SARS office after paying the money demanded by the policemen. The squad leader told me and 5 of our relatives that Emeka is dead. There was also the case of Kolade Johnson, who was killed by SARS operative in Lagos, March last year. Johnson was seen in a live football match between Liverpool and Tottenham at around 4:30 p.m. when he was hit by the police bullet and died. He was 36 years old. Though there is no comprehensive data of extrajudicial killings in the country, the Nigerian security tracker has recorded not fewer than 29 deaths caused by the SARS operatives between 2015 and 2020. The death of Kaka, a promising soccer star, has added to the data. Public protests that turned bloody. Kaka's gruesome death shocked the youths of Shagamu, especially his fans who have watched him play many times at the Gateway International Stadium. Their shock later snowballed to anger that led to the street protest the next day. Michael Ogundiya, 28 years old, one of Kaka's fans, was one of the youths who protested that day. That Sunday, he left home for his barbershop after bidding his mother Kehinde Ogundiya goodbye, but he never told her he was going for a protest.
Wọ́n ní bí ọlọ́pàá yẹn ṣe yìnbọn, wọ́n ló sáré lọ bọ́ aṣọ, wọ́n ní aṣọ wọ́n ní ó ti pa ọmọ ọbọ̀ yẹn ó ti pa, wọ́n ní aṣọ yẹn ṣáà ní pé òun nìyẹn lọ́ọ̀kan ṣùgbọ́n mi ò débẹ̀ ṣá. Pàdé ìpààyàn! Ìbọn ti pa! Ó jẹ́ kàyéfì fún mi nítorí òun ló máa ń tí bá ti ń jáde tàbí òun ló máa ń fún mi ní nǹkan. Mo ní mọ́mì mi, òun á ṣe báyìí fún yín, òun á ṣe báyìí fún yín, ẹ má ṣe nǹkan kan, kò ṣe pátá, kó dé ṣọ́ọ̀bù ẹ̀ kó jókòó bámbà ló kọ́.
One of the lucky survivors of the police attack at the protest said he knew the officer whose bullet killed Michael. He identified the killer policeman as Asha. The ICIR visited the Nigerian Police Area Command Shagamu in search of the suspected officer, but the divisional police officer, who identified himself as Okikiolu Agumbiade, feigned ignorance of the incident. Then he declined to comment. Please direct all your questions to the PPRO in Abeokuta, he said half-heartedly as he went back to work. In his interview with the ICIR, the police spokesperson had said the protesters were mere miscreants aiming to burn down the police station, implying that as far as the police is concerned, the matter is inconsequential and therefore forgone.
As I'm talking to you now, no single death was reported to us. If police has, no single death has reported to any police station. As I'm talking to you now, you are reading it on the social media that 3 people were killed. I read it as you read it on the social media.
It's not reported that
no single person has come to any of our police stations to report that his person was shot dead or they lost any of their listeners. Nobody has ever come to us to report such.
But your men who went to quell the riot, did they shoot at anybody?
No. Because they came to the police, they even have the intention of burning down the SAGAMU police station.
Odunayo Amuson, 25-year-old wife of one of the victims of the police killing, said her husband, David Amuson, aged 35, was no miscreant. He was a bricklayer and had just returned home from work to have his meal the day he was killed. He just had his meal right here, and later he told me he wanted to stroll. I did not know he was not coming back home. She narrated how she learned about her husband's death. She said many people who knew her and about the incident had been calling her to know whether she was at home, but nobody confirmed to her that her husband was killed in the protest. Instinctively, she decided to call her husband's phone number, but instead of hearing his voice, it was the voice of a stranger. The owner of this phone is dead. I helped pick the phone where it fell. That was how the news of her husband's death was broken to her. Odunayo said, her world came crashing at that moment. I didn't know whether to start crying or stay calm, but I felt something left my body. He was no troublemaker, the wife said. Ganiyu Tiamiyu, the younger brother of the late Kaka, said several eyewitness accounts confirmed that David indeed was not part of the protesters. He was caught by the bullet because the police were shooting indiscriminately at the crowd as people were running to different directions. When the family went to Osuf to claim the remains of the deceased, the hospital declined, asking them to obtain a police report before the body can be released and a service charge of 100,000 naira.
Police station Jawolowo wọ́n sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ fún pé tó bá máa wá kò tí yẹ kó wá ń sìn kó yẹ kó jẹ́ kó tó bí 3 weeks pé tó káwọn ló bí àwọn ọmọ ọ̀daràn tó ń da ìlú rú.
Odunayo met her husband about 11 years ago when he came to Shagamu from Oyo town in search of job, and they married not long after. The marriage has been blessed with 2 children, a girl, Darasimi, 8-year-old, and a boy, Jeremiah, 5-year-old. When the ICIR visited the family, the 2 children were still unaware that their father was dead. They both thought their father had traveled and will soon return. Odunayo said she's yet to tell them what happened to their father, but that was the least of her problem. She said the bigger problem is catering for the 2 children without the help of her husband, who was the family breadwinner. The money paid at the hospital to have him released was paid by the family of the slain footballer. Kaka's brother confirmed that the family paid 425,000 naira before all those killed in the protest could be discharged from the hospital. The third victim of the police brutality was OGAGA, a 30-year-old youth who had just completed his apprenticeship as a tailor. His father, Samuel OGAGA, said he rose from sleep that day without any premonition that he would lose a child. Ortega's father, a native of Delta State, arrived Shagamu in 1979 and has been living in the town since then because it is peaceful. The man said he had all his 6 children in Shagamu, 4 females and 2 males. I had 6 of them, and Tega is the 4th child. He is such a lovely boy, my carbon copy, the favorite of his mother. It was only recently he rented an apartment of his own in Texaco area, having completed his apprenticeship, the father said. On the fateful day, it was Ortega's younger brother, who now lives in Ile-Ife, that called their father, saying he had from friends that his brother had been shot and that he had been taken to the teaching hospital, Osuf.
Batimado suit, lóòótọ́ àwọn èrò ti pọ̀ ńbẹ̀. Àwọn méjì ló wà ńbẹ̀, Tega àti ọmọ kan orúkọ ẹ̀ tó ń pè lọ́jọ́ yẹn mi. Wọ́n ní bàbá nìṣá nìyẹn. Wọ́n sọ pé wọ́n máa ní ìdí ẹ̀jẹ̀. Àwọn bọ́ọ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ lọ́jọ́ yẹn wọ́n lè sọ pé wọ́n máa donate ẹ̀jẹ̀. So wọ́n bá mú wọn lọ sí ibi tó ti máa donate ẹ̀jẹ̀. Ìgbà tó yá ṣá wọ́n ṣàgbé ẹ̀jẹ̀ wọlé. Ó lè pé bóyá ibi tó ti ń pàṣẹ ẹ̀jẹ̀ sí wọn lára ni àwọn méjèèjì wọ́n ṣá give up. Ìgbà tí wọ́n á lẹ̀ ti mọ̀ pé wọ́n ti kú. So ìgbà tó dẹ̀ yá tí gbogbo èèyàn lọ bá gbé wọn wá láti inú hospital. Wọ́n gbé wọn lọ sí mọ́ṣúárì. Ìgbà yẹn ni mo tó fojú rí ọmọ mi gangan.
So kí ni ìgbésẹ̀ tẹ̀ tí wàá gbé láti gbà yẹn nígbà tí ẹ̀sìn pọ̀npọ̀ ti kú tẹ́lẹ̀ sí bẹ́ẹ̀rẹ̀ ẹ̀?
Ìgbésẹ̀ wo la fẹ́ gbé? Ní ìgbésẹ̀ kankan ta fẹ́ gbé mi ò kí la fẹ́ ṣe ta la fẹ́ bá fa wàhálà yìí pé òní a ò gbé ìgbésẹ̀ kankan àkọ́gbà fọlọ́ọ̀ ni.
#EndSARS campaign. Mr. OGAGA is unaware of the #EndSARS campaign, which started on the social media in 2017 by a man called Segun Awosoya, a human rights activist who has been on the front line of struggle against police brutality in Nigeria. Awosoya, also known as Shegaling on Twitter, has said in an interview with Channels Television that the youth are the most affected by the police brutality. He blamed the culture of impunity by the police on the oppressive colonial law that created the police force. The Police Act that created the police in 1943 did not give consideration to the human rights of people. Human rights came years long after the law came. the military interregnum make it worse for them. So over time, police sees itself as an oppressive system that protects the ruling class from the people. He is of the view that commanders of SARS must be prosecuted for all crimes committed by rogues operatives in the unit. We must repudiate the attempt to relegate the citizenry to a subclass of human existence. The spate of abuse of human rights, extra-judicial killings is alarming, he tweeted last year. You cannot militarize the police and jettison the protection of life and property without making the people the enemy of the state in the hands of the armed, subtrained men without a hope for the future.
So, after all this processing, I received a delegation from Inspector General of Police. The DIG for the Southwest, Peter Ogun came to our home with the governor of Ogun State, His Excellency Prince Dapo Abiodun. They came to sympathize with us, and they promised us that justice will be done and the investigation will be carried out. Those who are behind the killing will be brought to the book and be punished according to the law. Since then, I have not heard anything, but I was told investigation are carrying on. I don't know how far they have gone about their investigation.